The Minority Perspective on Race, 17th to 20th Centuries, Screencast. Minorities in the United States convey struggles with race through different forms of expression. The perspective of the oppressed in this country have been captured through poems, social movements, and social disorder. A progression can be seen in these forms of expression as minorities push for equality. Phyllis Wheatley, the first published African-American woman writer in 1773, describes to us in a satirical poem what her enslavers believed she should be grateful for. "'Twas mercy brought me from my pagan land, taught my benighted soul to understand that there's a God, that there's a Savior too." Her enslavers believed that they saved her soul with Christianity. Wheatley showcases some of the earliest poems that navigate the enslaved experience. Years later, Frederick Douglass, who was born into slavery in 1818 but would later gain his freedom, would give his account of a slave's reaction to the celebration of independence. In his moving piece, "What to the Slave is the 4th of July," he recounts the scorching irony of this day. "Your celebration is a sham, your boasted liberty, unholy license, your national greatness, swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless, your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery." Douglass's poem is another important contribution to representing the voice of the enslaved. 151 years later, in 1969, we see a strategic protest where 14 Native American college students occupy Alcatraz Island in San Francisco and authored a letter describing their takeover. "We, the Native Americans, reclaim the land known as Alcatraz Island in the name of all American Indians by right of discovery." Their word choice of discovery relates back to the history of the Native American removal in this country. The protest was a stance to represent Native American frustrations with the Sioux Treaty, which should have reverted ownership back to them. During the Civil Rights era, in a North Carolina department store, 4 African-American students participated in a sit-in at a whites-only lunch counter. They were beaten and arrested for disobeying segregation laws. Sit-ins were a progression of protesting the abuses that African Americans experienced during this time. The violence and abuses were visually represented for the public to witness. Later in 1960, riots began in Los Angeles, Newark, and Detroit, and were among the most violent and destructive. The riots were just the start of many moments of conflict, where we see protesters choose violence to protest economic disparities instead of nonviolent sit-ins. In 1969, President Johnson commissioned a task force to investigate the root of these violent events. The Black National Business League testified that it is to be more than naive indeed. It is a little short of sheer madness for anyone to expect the very poorest of the American poor to remain docile and content in their poverty when television constantly and eternally dangles the opulence of our affluent societies before their hungry eyes. Social disorder became a destructive outlet. Violent responses to injustice were an inevitable outcome in conveying racial disproportions. People of color in the United States have used many evolving forms of expression to shine a spotlight on the inequalities that they have survived. Accounts of history through the eyes of the oppressed are important because it is only then that we look within our own systems and arrive at constructs that need to change.